Right, what's up, yins, guys? And I gotta make this video right here. I'm gonna make this video. This is some of the most important fucking points. And one dude, if I hope you're watching, I hope you are watching this one, and other people like him are watching this one, since I actually uh, practically writing a 2-page text on how things usually are, and you don't care in a sense or trying to interfere with somebody else's life if that's what they want to have their life as their priority. If they want to drink, smoke, or use drugs, or the legal pot or anything, I mean, you don't give a fuck. You're not trying to stop them from doing it. There's a thing where there's this element where it's you have these friends maybe in your town and passing for whatever reasons down the street. It's not like you're around all the time, but there might be a few times like this friend here and there. You're maybe over there a little or more often for some reason because they're a neighbor for other reasons, and you're kind of friends, and you don't give a shit what them and their friends are doing. But like I said, there is a culture. It's actually a culture, and it's just expanding from anything that gets legalized. And the most important thing I wanted to say in this video, and this is the reason why I am what I am, and I make these videos about this gang stalking, and it actually appealed to me because that, what people call gang stalking, everybody has their little version of it according to where they are and who they are, and most of it is true in a lot of sense, and this gives me an avenue, if you will, to actually act out my cocky ass nature. Where years ago, with my old ass videos, date stamp frickin' 2011 and shit like that. The fucking time goes fast too. I make my older videos, and I had some holding back because like earlier, it's like, when I first got on that YouTube thing, it's like, I'm like this, making this video. I think I was trying too hard and thinking too hard before I make a damn video, instead of just go out and fucking say it. And if it's fucking sloppy, so the fuck what? But all right. Anyway, once we establish that, before I get off the track, for one of you guys that were watching, I had a 2-page comment on, I think, the stuff that I'm saying, why people are. I'm not just making these videos and saying shit. And I get a down on there because somebody just doesn't fucking like what I'm saying. That it's actually true. I don't give a fuck about their lifestyle they choose. I don't give a fuck. But this dude I was talking to, 2-page, I ain't gonna call you out in the video or anything. But I hope the hell you do comment on this one, because you get some idea, you're humoring me about how things kind of ought to be, priority-wise. And the reason why I'm making these videos, and I believe the gang stalking and the games people play, okay, and I think this guy is close to knowing where it's at, where, all right, how I grew up, like, I was saying in some of these comments how, okay, you're old enough to get out of the parents' house, right? But you start, even when you're living in the parents' house, you get your own place. And you start out in fucking minimum wage. And everybody else around you, whether they smoke cigarettes and don't do any other drugs, they're always their priors on that, smoke cigarettes and drinking, even before they leave the parents' house, and even when they're my age and older. And to them, that's all it's going to be. But the reason why I'm making these videos, and I believe there's more gang stalking and harassment that can go on, passive aggression, is because, okay, in light of these long ass comments I was making, I'm trying to explain this shit, and I might as well make a video. Okay, you start out in a minimum wage, and my priority, okay, my case too is probably what kicked me out a lot of that shit, because I could make a whole video separately when I was younger, and I was right on the wall, right on the fence of that shit. That, yeah, I could have been in some of them crowds and them parties and um, when I'm a younger kid, but you had a certain way you had to behave to be graced to go to these parties. Then you had the other ones that were the lower life losers that a lot of people get with them, and you can be on. You got some of them I went to school with right now to this day. They're in and out of rehab, and you name or you just knew of you heard the talk in the town about it that they some even fucking in and out of jail and even fucking died. I ain't gonna go on about that, but okay, this is about. I'm trying to make this up to relate this video in the shit I talk about in these gang stalking videos. Okay, it stems from when you're younger and very in your 20s and start working up till how old I am now. If any of you guys are any of my age group, which I like to steal that Henry Rollins thing and say about different cultures and say, I'm a 45, I'm a 47, gonna be 47-year-old curmudgeon who totally lost the plot, music and drug wise, but I think a lot of that life sucks because anybody that I was ever around it when I was younger, it was presented to me as something being forced down my throat. And everybody looks at me like I'm nuts, like such a thing doesn't exist. You should just go with it. And then there's the other crowd that's the total church going, total other crowd that stalks you and just because of how you look. So I had both of these elements when I started out minimum wage, I lived across the street from a fucking restaurant. Had all that fucking shit. To me, it was forced down my throat. And then at the same time, some of us had parents that, tried to do the church thing for a while on and off, but even though they don't go to church, they have this, some of our parents, and I'm not going to stray away and make this video like that I'm bashing and getting even with my mother and make a video about it. Scream, swear, and chain smoke, Okay, so this also stems from some of that where before I left and had my own place, you start out minimum wage, you always had the parent like that, right? You were turned off of smoking. I used to imitate Guns N' Roses and smoke for a while with sunglasses, and I just stopped smoking. I don't want to get into that in a whole story either in a video. That should be another video, right? I just quit for some reasons because the shit that pissed me off, it made me so mad I quit. And then it was money too. I couldn't always afford it. And I was not a cigarette bummer. So that's why I am the way I am. Okay, so anyway, if you got this far, okay, let's get to where, my 20s. I'm fucking 47-year-old in my 20s, and I never got into that stuff. I lived across, my first apartment was across from a restaurant, okay? So my first temptation, it was always food. So dude, if you got in this video, you see what the fuck I'm talking about. Their priorities. Then you're going to get next to people you work with, different age groups in their 20s. Even now, I go to these construction job assignments. Like, now in the winter, the assignments are different. And I take the time off and work for a charity for a little time and get to be outside, and it's fun. But anyway, start out as minimum wage. My priority was smelling food right in front of me. I started buying what I can afford. You know what I mean? And you even had to pay the rent late if you wanted to eat out extra. I started out as paying the rent late, even kiting checks. You know what I mean? But okay, so I got out of this one job. I went, with my brother. It was a teeny bit much, but I had a carpool. I also didn't believe in driving cars. That's another thing that's in there, and I was gang stalked and harassed for that on people of all these lifestyles. Because no matter what side you were on, you can be the fucking biggest dopehead in the world, and somehow they manage to have some kind of a fucking car, And I pissed people off on both sides of the tracks that way. So, hey, I started out, from one job, I was just able to walk to a couple of miles, and and like that. You have other people with the same financial situation you are, right? And they're going to local bars drinking first, and they buy their cigarettes and buying pot first. So this is the stature, the bullies. He's kind of humoring me. That's why I'm saying I'm being humored. I don't think they're really mocking me. Well, it shows the stature whether they're being verbal group bullies, heckling kind of bullies and trying to intimidate. There's certain statuses, like I made an example, like if you I worked with workplaces, and whether it's you even drive by certain kind of different lawn services, you see some of them have uniforms, you see these other ones with these. You can tell their priority is freaking drugs and beer, because real skinny chests, as in skinny arms, in the sun, and they're sitting around like they're super badass. But even in other workplaces and factories, you can see some people with the priorities are by another type of stature. They're even skinnier, all that stuff. And they want their pot, they want all their cigarettes and booze first, and you're different. My priority was always food, and then like my brother didn't work for this other place that I tried before. I was carpooling as opposed to walking. So he left that job, so I found another job, and an agency, I lucked out, okay? And this is important if you got this far. So I'm trying to say, when you're on minimum wage, maybe my priority, my priority is because I had a ponytail. I was buying fucking heavy metal tapes and Megadeth and all that. And there might have been people I worked next to, too, that listened to all that shit. Their priority is more, for buying. But to buy stuff for myself, something had to fucking go, right? But even, but then, I landed this job, for an agency, and got on with the company, worked for it for 10 years. I turned into big shit, cocky ass, buying, instead of this sweater, I have a sweater I still own now. I paid $70 for it. Walked right all there real smugly right into a men's store and bought it. And then I said in one of this dude's comments, to piss off one crowd, I'd buy this ceramic angel just to piss off. Because you got the crowd that was saying, ew, you got a ponytail, he don't do no drugs, he got money in his pocket, and he's always in this restaurant, he probably selling marijuana. And like that. And then you had the other side, when I was still in minimum wage, right? Like that old hag culture that, he's probably selling marijuana. Then you had the other culture right there too, while you were making minimum wage, and you're pissing them off even more when you're out of minimum wage. This was pretty damn good money. I don't even fucking make that kind now, and I'm actually cocky as fuck now because I just do these job assignments in certain places. I won't go on the company. I don't let nobody treat me a certain kind of damn way. I don't gotta give a fuck because I made, a job, I get another job for that, but anyway, out of minimum wage, these other sides, the drug crowd, which I had several videos, gangs talking about what the marijuana is. I don't hate you if you want to smoke pot, I don't, not at all, or if you're sick. Yeah, I'm all for the sick. I had friends that really are sick. They had accidents and everything. I said in other videos, they smoked pot before it was legal for medicine, but then they take pills. But I don't like the other shit that goes on in the culture that they're doing with pills. If you watch that other video, I think you should have an incentive. Don't get it at people. People come to you like a fucking magnet. That's another thing I hate. But anyway, you got this far in the video, I should just went out and said it in a separate video, and maybe I will, okay? That culture, I was still in my 20s and I'm out of minimum wage, but even when I was in minimum wage, I was gang stalked all the time and harassed and passive aggressive in some ways, because in my 20s, I was abnormal to them. As soon as you get an apartment, you're supposed to have all kind of people over and have parties and that. And I regard it as, I'm different, right? Even some of you guys, if you partied a little bit, there's nothing wrong. But I think, beer and sports parties and pizza is all right. Nothing fucking wrong with that. But some of you guys watching may do that a little bit, You may understand what I'm saying, that you might be on my side with this a little bit, whether you fucking like me or not. You think I'm a cocky asshole. That you may understand the concept of, if you do this, you did a little parties a little bit, maybe it's sports parties. You may understand that a concept, even if you do allow a little bit, these fuckers want to take over. Because I was around it when I was a younger kid, and I at other people's houses, and I was always one of them people. Like I walked out, I was just, oh yeah, you gonna let fucking people talk to you like that as Emma's friends? Like you don't want to go to church either, but you're like, but I'm like, the church culture doesn't like you, but you go rebel and go in this culture. It's like you should be telling them people, well, fuck them too, you know. But anyway, I was always, people will, they don't know you from Adam in streets and numbers. A couple of them will make conversation because, maybe they see you in a restaurant going with money and all that, And the gang stalking is also, they see whether you have a ponytail or whether you're black or whatever. People fucking that you don't know from after Adam see when people cash their paychecks and all that. And they meet up with you. Oh, do you drink? Do you? So it's not far-fetched that gang stalking is real, because what it is, people want to sell you their fucking shit. If they're not doing that, you get somebody at work, some workplace that gets a little determined there to try to find a buddy to attach to, because he don't got enough of money on his own, even with his wages, for his habits. And I don't want to waste my time sitting some bar stool after work, sitting in some place, I regard as having someone that wants to buddy up or whatever. And that or the party culture, whether it's somebody in a bar stool, right? You go into the bar stool thing and you can have a best friend or some buddy that this so-called buddy that you can't fucking get rid of. That's how I regard it. Or you can have these fucking people, whether you go to these parties or whatever, you're a certain age and you have a fucking party in your place. I didn't want that shit. As soon as I had a place, my first place of my own, I was rejoicing because I didn't want to be around that shit. As a teenager, everybody doing that shit, I wanted to rebel against it. And then I had my priorities, and it wasn't that. And so you're harassed because, and it's considered abnormal. And the reason why they make it such a big deal and they do that heckling, or whether they try to meet up with you, that make conversation, is these people are, some of them was, I like the word handler because some of them want to be a handler. They have handlers and they want to be a handler for these other people that have them as a handler, and they become your handler. The reason why I say that handler, all that shit about handlers is true, and I was following you guys with your gang stalking videos, right, is because that's the perfect way to describe it, because it's so, whether something's legal or not or whatever, or for whatever reasons, it can be people that want to sell their shit, one handler for another from the top down. And it's not always that either. It can be simpler. If you want to take out the argument that this person you meet up has a handler, maybe he doesn't, maybe he or she don't, but they are at the very least looking for somebody to attach themselves to and buddy up, so that there's some kind of virtue, whether you're in numbers of two. They don't get in a group, and some groups ain't hanging together. You don't know the past of some of these other people, in and out of jail, so they're with this group. Whatever reason they're not with this group, they're trying to attach themselves to one other person. There's a big thing out there where, you're supposed to get somebody, they're trying to buddy up with you so you and them can get together and put some money together so Bodians can have maybe a case of beer, bag of weed, or whatever the fuck, pills. That a lot of that shit is around. They think it's normal and like you're high and mighty if you're not doing that shit, right? But yet you got people around you. Some of them are all right people. They were on and off of that shit. You get some people that they don't blow the trumpet. You can be talking to one that used to be on, or you could be talking to somebody that does this and that. Some of them are the better ones because not only do they not force it down your throat, they keep it to themselves to a point where maybe there are better people that way. You can have these ones where, they're very good at keeping themselves. But that's why I don't care for that shit. Is part of it was always money-wise first. And then I thought these fuckers are always were crazy. I mean, when you're in minimum wage, if you got this fucking far in this video, especially the one dude that I had a two-page, doing a two-page comment practically, that the money and the priority, you know. But so you do get the heckling and bullying and the stature. I make fun of the stature too, because it's, if you're especially a minimum wage, you're making little or no money. You could tell by their stature they're all skinny chest and everything else. Especially if they do lawn work out there, you know, shirts off. You can tell by stature sometimes in some occupations and groups, because where their priority is, food is last. Me, eating a big meal was first. Walking around, I buy a brand new, I getting out of minimum wage, buying a brand new leather jacket and shit like that, buying a bunch of CDs, stereos. Sometimes even when I was out of minimum wage, you know, I paid the rent late and I paid the fucking rent late, okay? And I found that I was able to buy myself a nice stereo, not even use credit cards, kite checks a little bit, and then buy a fucking stereo, because you can go a step up above your means without even using credit cards if you don't fucking do any drugs. People hate you for that. And then the one side, the church side, will be like, hey, he's probably selling drugs. And then the other side is stalking you because, who the fuck does he think he is? And, you know, he thinks he's so high and mighty. And he bought a $70 sweater that he's wearing under that leather jacket, too. He's trying to be a yuppie or something. Or whatever the fuck they want to say. So it was, you felt more powerful that way, too. More empowering to be free of that. And the fact that I told the one dude, too, walk or ride a bike someplace or walk somewhere for the hell of it. One of them could be around you. They could be bitching. Oh, God, I'm dying for a cigarette. Since I have a background that I'm into the prepping stuff, too, if you have to do a lot of walking somewhere or something, during the shit hits the fan, if you believe in that. Yes, I'm a firm believer in what Canadian Prepper says on his videos. Those people are going to be fucked. You know what I mean? If you could live without anything, do it. But anyway, yeah, one thing I want to talk about too is racially, the people that are other races than you. You know, some of them do know where it's at on the other people of other race out there, and there's the ones that you cross paths with in factories. You could tell that they were a black version of you, even though they're not you, because they're wearing a leather jacket, gold chains, and watches. So they're the more prouder types because they easier get along with, and you may see one or two of them in a restaurant or a place that's a restaurant that serves beer. They're proud of themselves in a good way because, yeah, they got the first priority, you know what I'm fucking saying? And you have some of them, or even though they're not total friends, you see in passing, you know, because, I don't know, you click because they know where their pride is. And the other damn side of, you know, the other ones too, they might even, in their own minds, you know, give you these dirty looks and think you're racist or whatever because you don't buy the other crowds out there. But, yeah, you know what I mean? So you got to, like one of my other videos said, you know, if you're in some place, some workplace too, you get these little shit starters that have friends. You have friends there of other races and all that stuff. You get along with them. They have their priorities. You'll have this one other shit starter try to turn your friends of other races against you. I made a whole video about that. And the only thing some commenters had to say is, he didn't even comment back to explain himself. It's just a walk by. It's like, but, oh, yeah, see, kids, that's what drugs do. Oh, really? That's what fucking drugs do to you? Make you want to... Oh, drugs? Since when the fuck did drugs make you make videos advocating, trying to get along with people of other races in the workplace, you know, better priorities, and have your eye out for shit starters and don't fall into any traps that people may be trying to cause, you know, trouble there, you know what I mean? Because that stems, you know, you got the jealous crowds because there's people of all kinds that, oh, if you're not in that one other culture and your priorities to buy that shit, So like, there's like more that you can make separate videos. I mean, nothing wrong with, yeah, you and your friend, you go sit at this bar for a few minutes, have a couple of beers. There's nothing even wrong with that. But there is this element I'm trying to talk about too, that you get these people that they're looking to be your handler. They have a handler and another one that has a handler, trying to buddy up with you, and you get in these crowds because you observe it in other people. Buddy up because they need some other person when all their money is gone. Even if it isn't a mass bunch of handlers and gang stalking at a lesser level, you at the very least they're looking to somebody to buddy up so they can get money together. When their money is gone, they need a buddy to help them pay for their dope or their beer or cigarettes that they can't afford. I mean, and they can come up to you and bum a cigarette, and then all of a sudden make conversation and want to be friends with you. They fucking, if you smoke, now, I'm not saying anything against you if you smoke, right? But some of you smoke, and you make videos like this. They ask for a cigarette, they start to make conversation, they try to draw you in. Maybe you smoke pot a little bit once in a while, but trying to drag you into shit that you really don't want to get involved with and have this person around it's regarded as a pain in the ass. You know, like, I regard the culture for the party and getting high as just a pain in my ass. Somebody looking to tell me what to do and coming and say I don't want never want no parties in my place like when I was younger. These people doing, I regarded that as people that that you can't fucking get rid of, and they want to they're fucking users, and all your money's gone, they're gone, like that. You have these fools you go to school with that get to be my fucking age now, and they're still doing that fucking shit. And they haven't figured it out. Oh, they don't want to be all alone, you know what I mean, too. But yeah, I was trying to talk about the priority too. That say when I was out of minimum wage, the best job I ever had. Oh, I loved that. I got gang stalked by both sides. Even more when I got a minimum wage. But then the reason why I am the way I am in these videos now is when you make fucking less money, it's easier to live, and those people are going to get pissed off because you can be in a lesser wage, right? And you still don't do any of that shit. And it pisses them off even more that you can walk around with a smirk on your face with lesser wages or not even having 40 hours. You know, because if you see anything, I'm just not talk. I put the fucking physical into it. I mean, there's more to me. Some people accuse me politely of being Masonic, but I don't think Masonic people do any of the shit I do. But yet the elitists out there, they did have all the best stuff available. You know, I exercise as part of it militarily and all that stuff too. Everything I have does have hidden symbolisms that I have the knack for taking apart. If you got this part of the video, the physical is part of it because, and I believe that if you're legalized pot, if you want to worship it, fine, but it's not the God. It's not. I can prove it's not the God. If you want to smoke it, fine. I don't care if you smoke a joint or two. I proved already it's not the God. Okay, it's not the. You want to worship it, but it's not the great God, the great Savior. Well, simply because I believe in the videos like Canadian Prepper says in his videos. During a shit hits the fan thing or apocalyptic thing, which I don't force religion on you if you get this part of the video. The proof lies right in there. What do you need? I can make my case that if there's still food to pull out of the ground that you eat, like dandelion, if you guys smoke a little pot, and, hey, you want to make dandelion salads, and you like the idea of making dandelion salads to get a little bit of munchies if you smoke pot. My favoritism is with you. Yeah, if you think it's a good idea to use my videos with it. But anyway, I regard stuff that you pull. I'm making a separate video out of this if you get this far. I regard stuff that you can pull right out of the ground for free is closer to being provided by a God than that, because when you whether you have an apocalypse or not, and say it's not an apocalypse, say well, actually totally losing a job is damn near like an apocalypse financially. Say if there's no apocalypse, you lose your job, you get to a point where you're a bum, you're in a warmer places, you have less winter time, and you can literally pull something out of the ground if you know where it is and eat. And then, hey, bum a little bit of money and change to buy a bottle of salad dressing, you can fucking eat for free. While everybody else is bumming cigarettes and panhandling to buy drugs. Which, about the homeless, if you got this far about this, nothing against the homeless and people that are addicts and they're recovering. But literally, if you ever become homeless or there's an apocalypse, the Canadian prepper videos I want to put in the parentheses, because the people that are already homeless and the people that become homeless, and they're fucked, and like it's... Anyway, what I'm just basically trying to say is the whole video, before I make this whole video, you have, I already can prove that the things you eat, the things you can pull out for free to eat, to keep from starving the fuck to death, okay? It's easier, you say, if you even want to be an atheist. Which, if you want to be a fucking atheist, like say you've watched this video, humor me of something that is, of a God, you know. Which do you think leans closer to being provided by God? Something that you can keep from starving the fuck to death, or a plant that you use to get high? But yet, I still sympathize with the sick, and I actually worry about the sick. If some of them that are friends of mine, like I said in videos, that I get accused of not caring about the sick because of my stance on pot. On the contrary, just like in the videos, like with Canadian Prepper was talking about in the videos, it's something to worry about. You know, the legitimately sick that are in pain, that shit ain't going to be just available to you. They're going to suffer. You don't want to see that. But if the ones that hate you are going to suffer, that's their own fault. But yet, as it is, the ones that hate you, I ain't a firm believer to a certain extent that even the ones that hate me, I would, in the long run, would, during shit hits the fan, if it ever happened like Canadian Prepper, I would feel sorry for them. Even one of my worst enemies that hate my guts, I believe it would get that bad where I would feel sorry for some of them. I don't want to see anybody suffer, but it's a thing. If you follow Prepper videos, you follow certain things, and you could be that I actually believe, in a sense, I don't care what you do, but I believe in a sense that if you're not in any pain yet or any kind of a thing, don't do anything recreational. The thing provided by a God is sooner to be something that you can get out, provided that people want to pay good money for what's that chemical that you use for weed killer, that they're getting sued now because it's causing cancer just from using it. I was a groundskeeper. There was different brands and all that. I'm bad with names. You know, I see them. But yeah, that fucking name. All I knew is I see the bottle was poured, I didn't use it. But yeah, it's stuff that you can see that even the pot smokers look at you like you're nuts, but there might be some people out there that, oh, yeah. But yeah, anyway, I proved already that's not really, you know, something that feeds you first. But anyway, that's it. Fucking 34 minutes.